Yes, my people, Wayman telling me I'm currently on Bitcoin and this is the daily chart. So as I said before, I am trying to show you guys different assets, different time frames, and just letting you see for yourself that SPS can work on pretty much anything. So when we dive onto the charts, as you guys should already know, we want to be looking for our most recent zone, and this is currently my most recent zone. It's very subjective because I could say that this was a MSB. So obviously within this MSB, I should be expecting for price to do what? Give me a high, give me a low, give me a higher high, higher low, higher high. However, what do we understand? When we have overlapping zones, when we have unmitigated zones right beneath us or above us, depending on the trend, there's also a chance that price may tap into that zone and then continue pushing higher, or you even might disrespect that zone and continue lower. So in this case here, technically this is an MSB and it is a valid MSB. However, we have a zone right beneath us. So the better step will be for me to wait for price to tap into my second zone. And then I'll start looking for a potential trade. So when I let price play out, we take out, let's just let it candle close it. So if candle close below that low, with disrespect to that technically protected low, and then now a lot of people have been taken out. But all I see is gold. Why do I see gold? Because I understand that we had an unmitigated zone right beneath us. And this is now a good liquidity point where price should now use that as fuel to now try and push higher. So where are my areas of interest? This is my last down up movement, which helped to facilitate this market structure break. So this is my SNDR, my supply and demand zone responsible for helping with this market structure break. And then underneath it, we have a unmitigated move origin. So these are the two areas where price may want to tap into and continue to make higher highs and higher lows. We actually have a imbalance right between the two. So I also understand that yeah, price may want to fill this imbalance and then make its way higher. So I've now got my market structure that's out the way. Price is bullish based off the SMAs. Um, we have areas of interest, and now it's just time to mark out my SPS. So price has pushed out, the tap back out of the zone, the tap back in, and then the tap back out again. So 1, 2, 3. The lowest point is the 2 for the 1 and 3. My 4, and now I'm looking for the entry confirmation where price wants to head higher. So I can draw out my 3 from this low to this high, and we don't quite tap the 618 yet. But if we let price play out, we finally tap the 618. So now, if you're looking for longs, stop at your protected low, target your previous higher high, and obviously you just let price do its thing. And then when you let price play out, we end up taking out our previous higher high. So that 618 is no joke and is actually better than what a lot of people think. So this is now my 4, and now potentially this is now my 5 because it's kind of like the double bottom, the reversal where price is now shot higher. So if we just take it back a notch, and let's say you don't want to enter off the 618, you just want a little bit more confirmation. You guys have to remember I'm on the daily chart. And if I understand that this is my protected low, and if I understand that this is the week high, everything inside of just the internal structure. And then when I head over to my 1 hour chart, which will be pretty much the lower time frame, we can see that price was doing what? Price was making lower lows and lower highs because we have a high, low, lower high, lower low. And instead of making a lower high and a lower low, we ended up, let's just confirm that. Sorry guys, this is the hourly, so it will take a little bit long because I'm using high time frame. So yeah, so we finally take out that previous higher high. We're above the SMAs now as well. And then now if you're looking for a potential trade, you can. But now it's just got to make sense. So if you let price play out, Okay, let's see if we can tap. Okay, no. So let me just go back onto my daily. It may be a little bit easier to see. Yeah, so maybe a little bit easier to see on the daily, where we had that internal flip, as you guys can see there. And within that internal flip, we had an SBS combo where this is the tap back out the zone, tap back into the zone, the new higher high, and then obviously price sweeps, where this is the 4 and then you're looking for that 5. So it may be a little bit more harder to see based on the hourly chart, but on my daily chart, we can clearly see the SBS combo within this equation. So if that's something that you want to take now, you can. So now you would enter off the 618, such like this, with your stop at the previous, at the protected low, and obviously you will target your external high, but you could also target your internal high from the actual SBS, but you could also do it from the external high. And if we look carefully, as well, we had the Fib Geo where price at least tapped the 50%, and then obviously within this 50%, if you're marking out from this high to this low, we had at 100% level, but then price gives that pullback, but then you would have been stopped out. So another thing as well, guys, you guys have to take your profits, because you might get days like this where price does the madness, and then now you could potentially be stopped out. But it's funny how price actually ended up returning back to this unmitigated move origin, and we've come back to fill this imbalance. So when I say these areas of interest are important, they're important for a reason, because it all pretty much comes under areas of supply and demand. So if there's a lot of supply, if there's a lot of demand, or there's both supply and demand, then that area tends to move. That area tends to give us a shift where price wants to bounce higher, or where price wants to potentially bounce lower. So if we just take it back a notch, 618 would have won the classic 618 in terms of fib from this low to the high. So classic 618 would have been a success. Also fib, not fib geo, sorry, SBS combo as well would have been another success. And then both of these give you the RRs that you need to now call it a day, and then just keep it moving. And even within this SBS combo, what do we do? We tapped into this unmitigated move origin. And if I want to be very precise, then we pretty much have a wick fractal. What do we know a wick fractal to be? We know a wick fractal to be a hidden area. Look, wick by wick fractal. We know a fractal to be a hidden area of supply and demand. So this is not random. And this will happen over and over and over and over again. And this is based off the daily chart. If you head over back to the 1 hour and see if maybe price looks a little bit better. So yeah, so based off your 1 hour chart, that zone that I had marked out was that flip from there. We had that pullback. We tapped into that area of supply and demand, which was the hidden fractal. But now, if I'm basing the trade off this 1 hour, then I pretty much can't take a trade because we're below the SMAs. We've now gotten above, and then now I might potentially try and catch something along this leg where price is now making higher highs and higher lows. But as I always say, guys, victory belongs to the most tenacious. Wherever in the world, I wish you guys a good morning, a good afternoon, a good evening, and a good night. And I'll see you lots in the next video. Peace and ciao.